Hello, everybody. It's 10 a.m. Pacific here. We'll give everybody another minute or two to pile in, so just hold on for a sec. Okay, looks like we've got quite a few people that have joined, so why don't we get going? So, first of all, thank you all for taking time to learn a little bit more about eDocs. My name is Chris. I hope you all had a couple days off already this week. Um, And the reason why we're having this webinar is because we've been learning eDocs a little bit ourselves, and we're hoping to share a little bit about what we've learned along the way. So if anything here, is incomplete, if you want to know more and that kind of thing, just let us know. Or if you know things that we might not know, which is likely, please feel free to share with us as well so we can share with the rest of the community. So with that said, we're not going to spend a ton of time together today. I just wanted to get the basics in front of you all to get the juices flowing in case you're not as familiar with how eDocs work. Also, I'm going to be taking a look and monitoring chat. I think I'm probably going to be the only person from Liscio on today. So hopefully you can see my screen. If anything else pops up, just let me know in the Q&A or in the chat, and I'll look to address things mostly toward the end when we go through Q&A, okay? All right, so eDoc pro tips. Let's get going. Agenda, pretty simple. Want to cover just basic authoring, right? If you haven't done it before, want to get you familiar with just the simple stuff. Once we've done that, then I'd like to go in and show you how to create templates that already have the fields you want for the document right there on them. And I think this will be particularly important for those of you who do tax, forms such as Form 8879. We think we can dramatically reduce prep time. Then if you want to get deeper into this, we've been creating and working with different engagement letters and different tax questionnaires and learning how to simplify that, not only for firms, but also for your clients, right? How do you make something that's as easy to get through as possible? So we're going to share some what we call complex documents with you. And then I'll just cover kind of the flotsam and jetsam, the rest of the stuff that isn't naturally covered in those sections. So that's our agenda for today. Moving right along, let's talk about authoring a document. So just from an orientation perspective, I'm gonna get us right into product here. But from an orientation perspective, a couple of things we'll be using today are, there's a section up here, which I didn't notice for the first several weeks, when I was using the product. It's called field templates. I'll show you what that is. These little funny icons are alignment tools, so I'll show you how those work. We have the people who are going to receive the document, and everything unpacks underneath these downward-facing carrots here. These are people who are going to be receiving the documents. Then we have the fields, and there's quite a few fields as options we can drag and drop right in. When we're ready to send, we can send, but if we like what we're doing here and we want to save it for future use, they have a Save to Document Library button, which is great, very helpful. And if you're using a document from if you're using a document that already has form fields on it and you've been modifying them and you don't like what you've done, you can always back stuff out, but you have to back everything out. They give you this little reset button. So that's just a general orientation. So let me get you into product, and let's take a look at some practical use cases. So I'm gonna go to Liscio as a firm. And as you know, we now have this new eDoc section here under the Add New. So we're gonna click on Add New, go to eDoc. And I'm gonna send something. I can't start to really edit eDoc till we have a recipient. I'm gonna browse for a document. So I'm gonna try to find something. I have a sample document prepared for today. Sample. Okay, I'm going to take a 1040 engagement letter sample that I have here and upload it. And then we're going to prepare the document for signature. So as you can imagine, you've all seen engagement letters before. This one's gonna be a pretty basic case. So we ignore this for now. I have this 2019 individual income tax return annual engagement letter. And really just keeping it as simple as possible, I have two signature fields. I want to get Christine to sign it. So what I can do is I can drag a signature field over and place it where I want it. And then under the signer info fields, I can ask for the date. And actually this date is automatically going to be associated with the signature block. That's why it appears slightly differently. If I double click on it, it shows who it's assigned to, what the conditions are, etc. So double clicking on any of these things can help you understand. For example, if I don't want that signature to necessarily be required, I can take it off and the little asterisk goes away, okay? That red asterisk means required. So double clicking will give you a little bit more granular control. And then let's say I want these two blocks to be aligned. I can highlight one, hold down Shift, and highlight the other. And you'll see whenever I have two cells that I've selected or multiple cells selected, this alignment bar lights up. That means top justify, align top, align middle, align bottom, etc. So I want to align top, I click on that, boom, these are now perfectly the same level, okay? So anyway, so you're gonna want to use these. Actually, I didn't recognize this until late in the game, so I thought this was pretty cool. Then when you're ready and you want to send this out, all we need to do is click on send and off it goes. So pretty simple. So I'll go back over here real quick. If I click on this recipients, Tim created the form. We had a pre-fill on there. He's not on here, but so yeah, let's ignore that. But signature, see how this has a gold triangle, gold and gold? That dark gold color matches Chris plus Christine demo. So Christine's gonna be the person in charge of those fields. If any of these fields were blue, it would mean that anybody who gets the document can fill them out, okay? Be really, really careful with this one though. There are problems with it. If you have the same document, you can make, let's say, you got 10 questions you want to ask and you send it to a husband and a wife. If one of them starts answering anything in the anyone column, that person has to finish everything in the anyone column, okay? They can't just pick and choose on their own who gets it. It means either or, not some split. So anyway, that was really important. We were surprised to see that, but that's how it works. Okay, so then what we do next is we just click on send and off it would go. So now that we've done this, I think the engagement letter is a good place to start because you're going to send a lot of these out in mass and you don't want to be sitting here dragging and dropping all day. So how do we make that a little bit easier? So let's go ahead and show you a way to do that. So what I'd like to do now is to show you how to create a template for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to eDocs. And by the way, I didn't finish that document, right? I didn't finish the document. So what happened? Did my work disappear? Do I need to go redo that? No. If you go to eDocs and go here to drafts, you're going to see here's that test we did 3 minutes ago. If we click on this, it'll take us right into that draft and we can finish our work. Okay. So let me go back to the in progress template library. What I'd like to do is add a template and call this 2019 tax engagement letter. And I'm going to browse for that document one more time. And I'm going to preview and add fields to it. So what we're going to do this time is, as you noticed, we had two signature fields before. So I'm going to go down to the bottom here. And I have participant 1, participant 2, etc. I can add more participants. So let's add participant 1 here. Oops. I always do that. Signature fields, participant 1 goes here. See, it's gold, gold. I'm going to drag another one over here. And then I'm going to drag a date field in and another date field in. Okay. So if I double click, I can change this assigned to, I can make this participant 2. and it's going to change the color to that gray with the light blue, which matches the blue, okay? I'll do the same thing here, double click, participant 2. All right, so feeling pretty good about that. Now, these aren't the same width. Really odd, right? You would imagine they would be. So I'll highlight both. And then one of these buttons up here is called Match Width. Off we go. Okay, so we like that. Now, this would save the entire form. But what if sometimes we want to change something? Let's say we're using a mail merge, and instead of dear client, you're going to have dear client's name. That means every single one of the documents is going to be slightly different, but these signature fields are going to be in the same place every time. Well, what you can do in that case is you can go up here to template properties. And I want to be careful with this. Template properties only appears when when you're in the template mode. You have to be in the template previewed mode. So if you go to add new and you're just authoring an eDoc from scratch, you're not going to be in template mode, so you're not going to have this option. So if we look at the option, we have template properties. I can make it a reusable document. So it's a template, you just call it up, all the verbiage, everything is there. We can make it a reusable form field layer or both. I'm going to pick reusable form field layer just for this purpose. And I can make it available to anybody in my organization, which is appropriate. I'm going to go ahead and save that. So what will happen then is that's now a template. So if I were to come out here and do an add new eDoc, and let's say we had modified that document to say hello Christine, what will happen is I'll do test. I'm going to go ahead and, well, why don't we just be totally thorough here. I'm going to go ahead and open that Word document real quick. We'll modify it. Okay. Here is the Word doc. Or so I thought. I tried dragging it and it disappeared. 1 second. Okay, it is there. So dear Christine, and I'll do file, save as. Okay, so that's all set. We're gonna go back to the browser. It's over here. Okay, so I'm going to browse for that. There's our sample Christine. I'm going to prepare the document for signing. So what will happen is when this comes through, it's not going to have any signature blocks on it at all. It's going to be just dear Christine, right? And if I scroll to the bottom, nothing's there. Well, since we saved this field template last time we created the template, I now have that option under field templates. I can come out here, I can pick 2019 tax engagement letter, and I can apply that template. When I do that, it remembers where the signatures go. Great, right? And something really cool just happened too that you noticed. Before, when we created the template, we had 2 signers, signer 1 and signer 2, right? The software recognizes that we only ask Christine to sign in this case, right? So we go to recipients, there's only Christine as the client, as a signer. Therefore, only 1 signature block shows. It automatically wipes out the second signature block. So that's the cool part. So you can create it for multiple signers and knowing it's going to flex and be okay without having everybody there. Let's see, I've had a couple of questions come in. I'm going to try to get to the questions. It's not letting me open up the question window quite yet. So just bear with me for a second here. Okay. I can't get to the Q&A, looks like, on my own here. So if you all can use the Zoom webinar chat, if you have a key question here, you just cut and paste those in. I'll take a look at the chat as we go. Okay, so I'll give you a second to find the chat on your bar and drop those questions in there. Okay, no questions have come in yet, so I'll keep on going. Okay, let's see. Now that we've done that, I'm going to go ahead and move on, and let's go ahead and try something else. So let's say you have a form. Actually, let's do an 8879, just because I think so many are going to be doing this. So if I go out here to eDoc, and if let's say I have a pre-filled form 8879. In fact, I got to get out of this one first before I can create another one. So let's say I come out here, I've got an eDoc, and let's say our tax software prints out a form 8879 with most of the information filled already for Christine. What will happen is I'll go to Christine, do 8879 for signature, and I'm going to go ahead and browse. I'm going to type in 8879. There's a form 8879 for Christine. I'll go ahead and prep that. Okay, so as you can imagine, what's going to happen here is really quite straightforward. We have the SSID, her name, social security number, tax information, it's all here. What's missing is we don't have the signature boxes. Field template, select 8879, apply. Bang, it's all right there. Okay, so that's going to be your time saver for this tax season. We want to give you that print driver to push in here, then apply the field template, off you go. And then once you've sent it, everything is tracked, obviously, in the eDocs section, in progress, completed, canceled, draft, and all these tasks are sitting underneath the client contact and at the account level. So you can make sure you're getting, everybody knows exactly what's outstanding across the board, all inside of Lisio. Okay, that part's easy. Let's soldier on here a little bit. What I'd like to do is show you another example of a Word document. So I'm going to go ahead and grab another engagement letter. And this one's going to be a little bit different. This one's going to be something, let's say, that we're customizing once in a while. So when I go to Word, we go ahead and grab a doc here. Okay, open recent. Sample, let's see, 1040, sample 2. Okay, I'm gonna do one with fields. File. Okay, so here's another view of one, and I gotta go over here. Ah, there's our Q&A. It's on the screen hidden behind. Okay. Okay. So where's my sample 2 then? Open recent, sample 2. There it is. Okay, so let's say you have something where the fields are going to move up and down. Let's say sometimes you don't have a section 4, sometimes you do. What's going to happen is that's going to change the field height by quite a bit, right? Or the height of the document. So that means this box will move up and down. In which case, if you want to use a field template, the field template is going to put the stuff in the wrong place. In that case, we have an option called programming. So what you're going to see here is instead of having a blank line, we're programming it to say signer 1 signature, signer 2 signature go in these cells respectively, and the signer 1 date, the signer 2 date go in those 2 cells. This is what is called an Adobe text tag. Okay, and I'll show you. There are going to be instructions for how to kind of learn this a little bit. But let's say I just changed that document. I knocked out number 4, so now the height's different. So what's nice about this is I can go here and add a new document, create an eDoc, go to Christine, and you're going to see how those text tags work. Text tag, browse, and this was sample 2. I go to sample 2, grab it, upload it. Now, I'm not going to have to apply any kind of form field template at all this time. All I'm going to do is prep the doc for signing. And again, there's one signatory here. So even though there's 2 signers, it's intelligent enough to know that, see all the space here? Signature 1 and date. The alignment's a little bit off, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that. Okay, but not bad. You can see where this would have been, where the second signature would have been. Okay, that's a great way to go for more complex documents, things that you're moving around, or things that you just want to change text, like annually you want to change text, or on a case-by-case basis you're going to make changes. So that's the basics of programming. So let me go ahead and go back to our presentation here a little bit so we can kind of recap. Okay, we talked about the alignment bar. We talked about adding multiple signers, right? So again, the key here, if you send a template, multiple signers, only one person, the software recognizes that, and only signatures from participant one or whoever needs to sign will show. We went over this, which is the form 8879, how to drop a form field right onto a standard template. I showed you this field template bit, and we can share this presentation with you so you have a reference guide, okay? So I'm just walking you through it, just so you know what you're gonna get. But here's how to upload a standardized form, select field templates, select the appropriate template from the library, click apply. It's literally that simple. And then I showed you how to create an overlay, which is always start in the template section, add the form, place the fields, and save as a reusable form field layer. So pretty simple. So programming, I started to show you how a basic program works, where we put the text tags in the signature field. Well, you're going to want to know, or at least this is my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt, but my opinion, field templates are really, really good because they're super easy to set up, they're really easy to modify, and anybody can learn them. So that's great. The cons are, if you've got a lot of stuff that moves around, you'd have to drag and drop stuff quite a bit instead of just putting it there once and reusing it many times. So the second thing about them is there's a whole bunch of advanced options that aren't available in that user interface that you can that you'll have available to you in a program template. I'm going to show you exactly what those are as I understand them. So program templates are great if you have complex forms. You get these advanced controls such as show if, but there's a pretty steep learning curve. I spent hours and hours and hours just trying to figure this stuff out. It's not, in my opinion, it's not super easy, and it's pretty time consuming. And I'm going to show you kind of what I've done and what I've learned, and we'll probably get into that now. So this is a quick little example and demo I'm going to walk you through. But as you know, we've done a lot of work with these annual tax questionnaires. So did your address change during the last year? If yes, what's your new address? Well, what we wanted to do here is I wanted to have a yes, no, that the client it's basically foolproof, right? So the client always has to answer yes or no. Can't be, it's not like a checkbox, right? Where they can answer, maybe click the yes checkbox and the no checkbox. That'd be terrible. So we want to make it foolproof. And then if the answer is yes, then we wanted to require them to tell us what their new address is. If it's no, then why show them the field, right? So this is about having a better user experience. So a lot of what I've learned was mostly from going through this particular form. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that template up here so we can kind of start to take it apart. Okay, so this is the form, and you probably, I just want to make you aware of it. Obviously, there's nothing here to memorize. But this will give you a sense for the complexity so you can determine whether or not you want to start to take this kind of stuff on. Let me change the zoom here to something where we all can read it. Maybe a little more. Okay, so the way this works is, did your address change during the year? Everything starts and ends with a double curly bracket. And then, so that tells Adobe, that's what signals to Adobe, hey, Adobe, you need to pay attention to this. The second thing is this little asterisk. If that's there, it means that this field is required. And then we have the field name. And for me, when I was building this, I just wanted to create something that was a little bit of a mnemonic device. So I did YN1, which means yes, no, number one. So yes, no, question number one. And then Adobe uses this underscore, electronic signature underscore. I think that's necessary, so I put it in everything. Then I did a colon, which is a separator. And then I put a basically shorthand here, which is go find something. Go find the YNDD, which is a yes, no drop down. And then I close brackets. So brackets required, what's the name of it, and then go get something. So what it's going to go get is it's going to go get something down here. I put it at the bottom, which is the YNDD. So I go to the bottom of the page, YNDD is brackets again, so Adobe knows what it's looking for that. Hashtag instead of $. Hashtag means that's the source. $sign means go get this, okay? So this is a source yes, no dropdown equals signer 1. So you can pick which signer you want to do something, signer 1, signer 2, signer 3. What the dimensions, and this is a little bit going overboard, but I wanted to learn this. So I just specified the dimensions. So I wanted this dropdown to be 2 centimeters wide, 5 millimeters high. So it looks good on the form. Then I wanted the drop-down options to be yes or no. So options equal yes, comma, no. Then font size, I want to play with this too. I wanted it to be a specific font size and a specific font color. So I just specified all that. So for all of these yes, no drop-downs, it's just going to go out there and it's going to grab that. So now I have yes, no 1, yes, no 2, yes, no 3, yes, no 4. Really simple. The reason why you want to specify which yes, no question it is, in this case, is because if yes, what's your new address? So I just said text 1, so same thing, required text 1, show if the yes, no 1 is equal to yes, so if that value is yes, then have signer 1 require the text from them, dimension, width, font size, off you go. So pretty simple stuff, but it requires us to learn a little bit of a different language. So the net of this is tax questionnaire dash template. The net of this is, if we go back to Liscio, add new, eDoc. I got to remember to get out of that first. You can't start eDoc when you have one open. Christine, template, browse. There's our template. I'm gonna open that up and I'll prepare it. So what's nice about this is we can be editing those questions all day long, adding them, removing them, changing the question, etc. And what'll happen is whenever we re-upload it, it's gonna look nice and be ready to go. So did your address change during the year? Select, if yes, what's your new address? Sometimes it does this, it comes off a little bit, maybe not perfectly the way I want it, but it's pretty close. This one's bad. I don't know why I did that one. But you're gonna wanna go through here, refine it. When you have it the way you want it, save it to your document library so you'll be able to upload it once, use it many times if you want, okay? And then if I send that out, the user experience is really good, okay? So that goes to Christine client. Christine will dive right in here. Okay, I'm gonna show you that. I think most of you already seen this, so I'm not gonna spend much time on it. But from the client side, she gets the task. Now it's asking for my password. I haven't changed my screen yet. I'm doing this on another monitor, so just bear with me for one more moment. There she is. Okay, so Christine gets the template, which is going to be sitting right here. She'll click to review it. And then she has these nice drop downs that only ask her yes, no questions with the show if, okay? If yes, hey. If no, nothing. So that's how you do it. That's programming 101. So let me go ahead and share a little bit more detail on that. Adobe Sign reads text tags. Each text tag starts with a double curly bracket. Each text tag must be contained within a single row. I screwed this up the first couple times. I had long stuff that was rolling into a second. Basically it was just wrapping around. It can't wrap around. The size of the field is generally determined by the length of the formula. So if you have a really long formula, it's going to want to put a really long box there. But as you saw, you can control the dimensions. If you want a shortcut to change the font size or color or anything like that, the first curly bracket that you put in whatever that is, it'll apply all the way across. So that's a really nice shortcut. And then you can override the width and the font color. You can override that by programming the parameters, as you saw my doing earlier. So here's what you really need to know. Advanced features. I think there are 4 advanced features that are going to be of value. One is the show if that I showed earlier. 2 is pre-fill fields. So if there's things that you as a firm want to fill out before it goes to your client, all you do is put a pre-fill requirement in there, which is basically a colon pre-fill. And that signals to Adobe that the firm is going to have that field filled in prior to it being sent. So it'll prompt you. Field validation. So if you want something like a social security number, right, to be 9 digits and always 9 digits, hey, you can specify that. So you never get anything back that's impartial, or that is partial, I should say. So that's field validation. Calculated fields are also possible. So if you want to, for example, have an amount, if the client picks, hey, I want option A and option B, and those each have prices, you can go ahead, and the prices can be put in a dropdown, for example. You can have the software add them together to come up with a total. So you can add, subtract, multiply, all that kind of thing. So calculated fields are also an option. So in terms of how you can learn all this, there is a link to the Adobe Sign text tag guide. This was my go-to resource, really. It's fairly lengthy, but if you have the time and the inclination to read through it, it's pretty powerful. So if you want to have a default value, colon default. If you want to have a tooltip is if you hover over the cell, it gives you additional instruction, colon tooltip, right, etc. So it's actually, it's pretty straightforward once you kind of get the hang of it. Colon font allows you to change the font, name of the font, color of the font, size of the font, and anything after that is always in brackets, right? So it's not terrible to do. This is how we learn how to do it. I'm just kind of passing that on. All right, so that's helpdesk.adobe.com/sign/using text-tag.html. We'll have this for you if you ever want to call in and talk to us about it as well. One other thing that I thought was really interesting was attachments. So if you need an attachment from a client, you can do this from a program, or you can drag and drop it into the field. So both ways of authoring work. And if I go back out here to my test document, what I can do is, for example, did you receive any W-2 forms? Select yes. Click to attach W-2 number 1, W-2 number 2. So when the client taps that, they can go ahead, grab a file, and it'll upload the file right in. Actually, yeah, it's already there. You see it just populated. There's my screenshot. So if you want to have multiple files, I recommend having multiple fields for them. In fact, I put a bunch at the bottom, just give extra fields. Hey, if there's anything else you need to attach, here's more spots to do that. So your client go and attach those. When your client submits this document, the attachments are going to be in line. So basically, we're going to create a PDF at the end of this process that goes in your vault and theirs, that shows all of their answers, has all of their attached files, and has the signature block on the bottom that shows their IP address, the data signature, all that kind of stuff that you need to be compliant with the e-sign regulations. So everything is going to be in a consolidated single PDF, regardless of how many attachments they have. Okay. What else? I got just a couple of small items here. KBA, I think you all know that we have KBA obviously in the platform as well. Really easy to do. Create a new eDoc, send it to Christine, and I'm going to send it to another person as well, Ando. Okay, if you click on KBA, if there's a signer order on, you can assign the order in which the KBA goes. So when it shows that, I can drag and drop it, or sometimes I've even heard of cases where, the parents need a KBA, but a dependent, let's say Christine is the primary and Anna is the dependent. Dependent minors don't need a KBA because they don't have credit. So I can uncheck that. You can have KBA control by individual. Might be helpful. Okay, so that's all baked in there. Just use KBA and use the assign order bits for that. And then if you want to proof a document, if you want to proof everything before it goes out, what I'd recommend you do is come out here, and I think I can do it this way. I'm going to go to an eDoc, and I'm going to take a look at my templates, for example. Tax engagement letter. So if I click on it there, it allows me to go through and proof it that way. There's another way to go, which is if I go out here to eDocs and I want to see, let's say, a draft, I can open it up. And what I'd recommend doing is, well, yeah, you can scroll through it this way as well. So super easy. So you can go to eDocs there. And if it's sent out to somebody, I think I've got some pretty good ones out there, like this one's in progress. You can also use the download button, and it'll download the full document you sent. So you got a bunch of different ways to proof, okay? But I like doing the PDF download if you have multiple pages. So just know that that's an option for you. Okay. I think I'm on my last page here. So final comments. So we found some limitations, and these are important to know. Some people wanted to attach a document, or pardon me, attach a date to a document, like today's date. Adobe Sign can't do that. They can't do it unless that date is associated to a signature block. So I think if we look at it through their eyes, the date that should be on here that is, well, there's, in their case, in their eyes, there's no reason to use today's date automatically. So there's two options here. One is if you want today's date on there, then I would use prefill. I do the date prefill, or just drag and drop a field in there and say to be filled out by the firm. And then every time the document's sent, it'll ask you to type in a date and just drop in today's date. But we can't automatically drop in today's date. We can only either have you prefill it or have you attach the date to a signature. So if you're signing it on that day, then put the date tied to your signature, and that's great, okay? But if you're gonna send it to the client first and then sign it second, maybe it won't be today, maybe it won't. So I wouldn't recommend attaching the date to it, attaching the date to the signature too. You know, if your signature might come later. I think you get what I'm saying there. Okay, we can't auto-populate information from Listio into the document. That's something we're gonna look at coming up here. So there's complexities to their API, so we wanna make sure we get that stuff right. So we're not ruling it out, but we're not ruling it in right away. We're working on the print driver right now. We'll circle back to this kind of stuff a little later. This next one's important. Non-Adobe PDF converters. So a lot of times those are going to create these corrupt PDFs. And we talked to Adobe about it, but I think, you know how a lot of software just allows you to create a PDF without ever using Adobe Acrobat? So the people making those tools might or might not be super accurate, right? In fact, I think there's a lot of cases we're seeing, particularly for those using Mac computers, where I've created them before. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And sometimes when we try to upload a PDF, it'll say, can't recognize it. It's because that PDF writer really isn't following Adobe's rules. So as you saw earlier, you can always upload Word docs. You can typically upload PDFs. Usually 99 times out of 100 it's gonna work. But once in a while it won't. And if that's the case, then please look at the PDF writer you're using. It's probably not Acrobat. And that's almost certainly where the source of the problem is coming from. Okay, I'm putting this back up here one more time. It's Adobe Sign text tag instructions. You can always look up Adobe Sign text tag, and it's going to pop right up top of your Google search. We've created a bunch of standard forms. So if there's something that you think is something you might want to take a look at, some standard stuff we have, we'd be happy to share with you. And then if you have documents that you think are great for the group, and you want to share with the community, if you let us know that you have or just send a form over to us saying, hey, let's make this essentially kind of like freeware or public good, that'd be super amazing. We won't share anything that any of you have done unless we ask you and you've said, okay. But the benefits of community, it's always nice to give back a little bit. And then if you need help programming documents, if you're really stuck, or if it's something you want to do, just don't know how to do it, and we can add some value, we can help you. We're not going to try to make money off this. It's just to help you guys out, but we would charge a small fee just because we're pulling people off support lines to go do some of this stuff. So we don't really write engagement letters. We don't really do a lot of that stuff, but this programming might be really valuable to some of you. So if you want help, just let us know. It'll probably be me helping you with it. Okay. So that's it. So that's the pro tips. Let me go ahead and take a look at OpenQA. A question from Leanne. Like a field 8879, it'll save the whole doc. So if you upload so the question is, and make sure I have this, Leanne, let me know if I don't. But the question was, if you upload a form, does it save the actual doc or does it just save where the fields are? Well, let me back up. I think there's two ways to go. If you create I'll go to my templates here, eDocs, and I go to a template. No, clicked on the wrong thing. I got fooled by that. Click on my template library. You have a choice in the templates area. I need to edit, sorry. Your choice in the edit area if you want to save the entire document, make it a reusable document, or if you want to just save the form field layer, which is just saving the fields, or if you want to save both. So the answer is yes to your question, and you're entirely in control of that. Those are all the questions I got, actually. It looks like everybody stayed the whole time here. So I hope there's some value there. I think I kind of threw a lot at you, but I hope it's helpful. Unless there's any other questions that come in, I'll let you go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, let us know if we can be of help anywhere else here. Okay, everybody? Otherwise, enjoy the holiday. Happy New Year to all of you, and hope we talk soon. Thanks much.